That, as we said, was 1978. Several years later, Josh and Humi Greenfeld made a difficult decision. They removed Noah from their home when he was 18. Josh had developed health problems, and Noah had just become too much to handle. They first tried group homes, without success. Then they put their son into an institution, and that's where 33-year-old Noah lives today. Josh is now in his 70s, Humi 69, and Noah is still a very big part of their lives. The Greenfelds visit Noah every week, and they make certain he's being well taken care of. They are his voice, even today.
When you have a developmentally disabled child, you can't let him go. And he won't let you go in a psychological sense. The look on his face when he sees us, sometimes, it makes driving out there for an hour, it makes it all worthwhile.
At first glance, Noah looks like a normal adult male. But a closer look shows that he's still very much entrenched in a world that his parents still know so little about. Josh, as Noah got older, how did things change? Or did they change?
You know, at first, you just hoped he'd be normal. Then you just hoped he could talk. And then you just hoped he could communicate a little more or understand. And then finally, you reach the point where you just hope he can be well-fed, well taken care of, be happy, not feel pain. You become very, very basic.
Noah's ability to communicate is still very much like that of a baby. And like a baby, he can be affectionate, but he can also throw tantrums, even though he's regularly medicated. And when he does, a staff member is there to help. I know that both of you felt very strongly that you wanted to keep Noah at home. Certainly wanted to keep him at home for as long as was possible. Yeah. At that time, 20 plus years ago, you didn't know how long that might be. Now looking back on it, do you think that was a mistake?
It was a mistake because, and it was not a mistake. It was a mistake because the longer you keep somebody at home, the more you become attached. And the more you become attached, then the harder it is to separate and the harder it is to accept. And, I would tell anyone who has a child like Noah, as soon as you find out about him, get him out of the house. However, having said that, you have to dream of the future of your child. You don't give up. So, we did the wrong thing, but it was the only thing we could do.
Noah's older brother, Carl, was 13 when we first met him. Today, Carl is 35.
I mean, it's such a bad decision for a family to have to make.
Like his father, Carl is a writer, currently with Time magazine. In your head and in your heart, do you think of yourself as an only child? I think you know the spirit in which I say that.
It's interesting. The way I see Noah now, I'm an only child with a brother. I mean, that's the way I began to think of it. But I'm at a period in my life. I mean, Noah was a huge part of my childhood, adolescence, growing up. And when my parents pass, which Noah will then again become a big part of my life because the burden of Noah will fall to me. So inevitably, my journey will take me back to Noah.
Well, this raises the question: you do or you don't still feel an obligation?
No, I have an obligation, absolutely.
And a responsibility for it.
Yeah, I have an obligation and a responsibility.
With Noah in an institution, the Greenfelds have tried to carve out a normal life for themselves. Humi has gone on to become an accomplished writer and, like her husband, has even written about the struggles of raising Noah. The Greenfelds say that even today, they find themselves still hoping for a miracle for Noah, a hope they know will not likely be realized. And so their thoughts turn elsewhere.
A fellow parent once said, who had as a developmentally disabled, I don't know what word to use anymore, child, that We're the only parents in the world who somehow wish and pray fervently for our offspring to predecease us. And there's truth in that, because, you know, if he's gone, then it's easier for us to go psychologically. It really is.
Which is not the normal situation.
Oh God, I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen, you know.
Is there a moral in the story of Noah? And if so, what is it?
The moral, I think, is if you have a child, really appreciate normalcy.
60 Minutes 2 will continue in a moment.